Blake Lively is now dead to Taylor Swift. This is the final nail in the coffin for her friendship with Blake Lively, as she wants to distance herself from this legal battle between Lively and Justin Baldoni. And she blames Blake wholeheartedly that it's over.
What could really push Taylor Swift, the queen of keeping friendships rock solid in public, to suddenly pull back from Blake Lively? Just weeks ago, they were practically glued together. But then one late night at Travis Kelce's house flipped everything upside down. Tempers exploded, police got involved, and talk of secret scheming started swirling. But was it a real betrayal, or just another Hollywood storyline crafted by slick PR teams? Stick around, because the truth behind this falling friendship is way messier than anyone expected.
This process server apparently hopped the fence at 2 a.m. at Travis Kelce's house. It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. And we're going to explain more of why it makes no sense and who could have been potentially behind it. But that act alone, regardless of who was before, regardless of her feelings on Justin and everything else, the fact that it happened, the fact that this thing's still going, the fact that Taylor's now involved, she blames Blake wholeheartedly that it's over.
Why would anyone risk jumping a fence at Travis Kelce's home in the middle of the night? This wasn't some random teenager pulling a dare. According to the police timeline, an arrest happened at exactly 2:16 a.m. right outside the gates of the NFL star's property. Think about that. 2 a.m, a man sneaks past the fence, alarms blare, and within minutes flashing red and blue lights slice through the quiet Kansas City streets. That's not just bizarre, it's calculated. And it didn't take long for people to ask what, or more importantly, who this desperate move was really about. The police report confirmed one thing: someone had been arrested for trespassing, but that report wasn't neat and clear. It was covered in thick black bars, whole lines, redacted names, and intentions buried under legal blackout. And vague details like that only do one thing: they ignite speculation within hours. Gossip channels were already spinning an entirely different version of events. Could the man have been there for Taylor Swift, who was conveniently tied to Kelce's home at the time? Or was it something more personal, maybe a late-night attempt to send a message no ordinary fan could deliver? That's when the story split in two. On one side, the Kansas City Star treated it as nothing more than a routine trespassing arrest, cold facts, nothing extra. On the other side, Star magazine swooped in with their own narrative, claiming the break in attempt was directly tied to Taylor. They even floated the idea it had to do with serving legal papers. But here's the strange part: the police report never once mentioned Swift, not even implied her. So where exactly was that puzzle piece coming from? Picture the scene: a shadowed figure in the dark, hands gripping the wooden beams of Kelce's fence, boots hitting the grass just as alarms wail, sirens racing down the street, officers swarm the driveway, headlights piercing the night, names scrawled into reports only to be blacked out moments later by dawn. Gossip sites plaster headlines everywhere: stalker or legal messenger Taylor Swift pulled into midnight chaos. And that confusion wasn't an accident. It became the story. Then the name quietly surfaced. The man in custody wasn't an unknown shadow. It was Justin Lee Fisher. His identity was confirmed, but whether he had any link to Taylor was never clarified, which means every headline dragging her name into it was built on pure speculation. Still, the timing, the secrecy, and the way her world suddenly got pulled into the mess made people start connecting dots. And according to whispers, this chaos wasn't random at all. It could be traced directly back to Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni.
This is the final nail in the coffin for her friendship with Blake Lively, as she wants to distance herself from this legal battle between Lively and Justin Baldoni. And this incident was the turning point for her. I mean, I think it was already there, but this insider claims for Taylor, that arrest was it. She believes Blake opened the door to all of this, and watching a process server get handcuffed at Travis's home because of Blake's lawsuit was humiliating. This ended whatever was left of their bond. Another source close to Swift's echoed that view, saying Taylor has dealt with stalkers and security scares for years, but being dragged into Blake's drama with Baldoni feels different. She sees it as a betrayal. That arrest was the moment she decided she's done. I mean, do you believe that? Do you think it really was? I mean, I think this was the final moment where she's like, never, ever, 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 but I think it was already done before this. But as this battle progresses, this was the moment that allegedly sent it over, so there's no turning.
Why didn't Taylor Swift rush to defend Blake? Lively, the friend she always seemed to champion, fans were stunned by the silence for years whenever her circle-faced backlash. Taylor never hesitated to show public support, whether it was through social media posts, surprise appearances, or even clever lyric nods that doubled as shields. But this time, there was nothing, no Instagram captions, no carefully crafted interviews, no friendly check-ins for the world to see. It felt like she closed the curtain and stepped away just when the noise around Blake was at its peak. That absence stood out more than any comment she could have made. People knew Taylor's reputation: fiercely loyal, always protective of her chosen family. But when Blake's name got tangled in chaos, Taylor left her hanging, and that gap between past patterns and her current silence became the center of speculation. Was she stepping back for strategic reasons, or had something personal shifted between them? Behind the scenes, the lack of an explanation gave everyone room to fill in the blanks, and they did quickly. Timing also played its part. Taylor was balancing three massive priorities at once: a worldwide stadium tour selling out in seconds, growing chatter about a possible wedding to Travis Kelce, and a new album cycle demanding her full attention. Stepping into Blake's mess would not only drain her energy, but risk tainting the winning streak she had built. Her professional image was spotless, polished, and free of unnecessary drama. So, while Blake was drowning in legal filings and swirling media rumors, Taylor was selling out arenas and topping charts, and her team knew exactly what was at stake. According to whispers, Taylor's inner circle made the decision clear: they wanted her nowhere near the mud before it splashed back on her. The message was simple: the risk of association was too high. The headlines could snowball, and gossip outlets thrive on guilt by proximity. Why feed that machine when silence could starve it? For someone as image conscious as Taylor, the choice aligned perfectly with her long-term strategy: stay clean at all costs. But here is the irony in Hollywood: silence is never neutral. Silence fuels bigger rumors than words ever could. Fans dissected every detail. Why did she attend events without Blake? Why no supportive tweets? Why erase their typical banter? Each blank space looked intentional, and every choice looked like distance in the celebrity world. Refusing to speak often says more than speaking ever could. So, the message was received loud and clear. By staying quiet, Taylor signaled that something had changed in her relationship with Blake. It didn't look like a slip or an oversight, it looked deliberate. And if there was any doubt, the way media outlets spun the story only magnified the divide.
Taylor waited till the day after Blake Lively's birthday. Can you imagine if it had happened and she had announced it on Blake Lively's birthday? Oh my gosh. Taylor, I do think, was wise and made sure, someone on Taylor's team made sure that it wasn't that, because it would have created so much news about she snubbed it on her birthday. But as Blake was celebrating her birthday, she celebrated... do I have that one? Yeah, here it is. It was quiet time with the family as on her 38th birthday, amid the legal battle. From exclusive sources at People, she's been having a great summer with Ryan and her 4 kids. She's focusing on her family, and it's been mostly about family time, having a great summer. So it sounds like not a lot of stress and trauma, like she keeps claiming in this legal doc. Lively's birthday comes after she's just announced in a new film, which, what are they thinking? The survivalist and action rom-com. I'm going to take a bet that that film's not going to do well. Just going to take a bet. I would not have betted on Blake Lively as my leading lady for an action rom-com, but we'll see. We'll see how that works. But again, she's still getting work. She's celebrating at home. She's living her best life. Apparently, all this smear campaign and retaliation hasn't really affected her, it seems. But anyway, she's been in there chilling, having her birthday plans. She's grateful for Ryan's support over the past year. She's been unwinding, blah, 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 with love and gratitude by many who stood by me. You know, she's just doing the same. So, but what is she really thinking? Hey, let's get to some of these I think, pretty solid rumors. Now, the biggest snub of recent is the report coming in that Taylor has officially removed her from the guest list of her upcoming birthday party. So this is where and Taylor Swift was not welcome to Blake Lively's party, is how Blake's trying to
Would you believe that 2 news outlets covered the exact same late-night trespass? and managed to make it sound like two completely different worlds. That's exactly what happened, and the clash between them turned a simple 2 a.m. arrest into a circus of speculation. One side focused on a straightforward criminal trespass, while the other splashed headlines dragging Taylor Swift straight into the chaos. And just like that, fans were forced to decide which version of reality they believed. The Kansas City Star stuck tight to the facts. Their article laid out the timeline: police arriving at 2:16 a.m., a man named Justin Lee Fisher in custody and charges of criminal trespassing on private property. Cold, factual, nothing extra. And the police report itself was heavily redacted, thick black bars hiding motives, names, and context. But one thing was obvious: it never mentioned Taylor Swift. Not even once. Then came Star Magazine, and they didn't talk about just trespassing. They claimed the entire ordeal was tied to Taylor suggesting the man at Travis Kelce's home had been trying to serve her legal papers. That twist exploded across gossip sites and blogs overnight. And when the Kansas City Star later clarified that this detail came only from Star Magazine, the spotlight swung hard on them. Where did they get it if the report never said? So was it a leak or just something created by their sources? The gap between fact and suggestion created a war of perception. Fans reading the Kansas City version saw a man arrested for trespass. Fans reading Star Magazine saw Taylor Swift at the center of a legal ambush. Both stories couldn't be true, yet both spread like wildfire online in minutes. And that's exactly where the gossip machine thrives. Star Magazine leaned on unnamed insiders and blind items, filling the blanks the redactions left behind, and police silence on motive gave endless space for speculation. Because when the official record dodged the question of why nothing was off the table, suddenly TikTok was flooded with flashing police lights cut to Taylor's songs. Hashtags linked her to a midnight stalker. Reddit threads claimed the real story was obvious if you just connected enough dots. But the dots only existed because the blanks allowed them. Meanwhile, rumors said Blake's team scrambled to push legal filings each time the story blew up, as if the rush to file mirrored the chaos online. Whether true or not, it looked calculated. And hey, race the kicker: the more the outlets contradicted one another, the easier it became for manipulation and PR spin to take over. The confusion didn't just muddy the waters, it gave Taylor the perfect excuse to back away completely, which leaves one glaring question. If this was the storm she refused to clean up, what did that mean for her friendship with Blake?
I mean, we've known this for a while, but reports Taylor Swift has been wanting this drama for a while. Taylor never wanted to be part of this fight. Now she's just hoping it ends soon. She's totally done with it. She has an album to launch, a wedding to plan, the biggest tour in the world. The last thing she needs is this courtroom chaos that has nothing to do with her. Her mission is simple: clear her name, keep her focus on her fans and her future with Travis, and leave the Hollywood mudslinging to someone else. She doesn't want to get involved. She clearly doesn't want to defend Justin. She doesn't want to be there to help Blake. She wants nothing to do with this. I can't blame her. I don't think she was as involved. But here's where things get a little interesting. We're going to go through some, again, theories, blind items, take them as you will. This is no way proof, but sometimes they're interesting. And again, take this as you will, a blind item. The late night attempt is not what it seems. The Stiller actor thinks he's smarter than everyone else, including the A-plus singer. He should be careful or his ego will destroy both him and his wife in a very public way. I want that to happen so bad.
What happens when trust built over years collapses in a single night? That's the question fans kept asking when Taylor Swift's friendship with Blake Lively suddenly looked fragile. For so long, their bond was one of Hollywood's most admired. They weren't just standing on red carpets or sitting front row. They blended families, overlapped projects, and carried themselves like two people rooted in loyalty, not convenience. But after the 2 a.m. incident outside Travis Kelce's home, everything shifted. The late night fence jump became more than a strange disturbance in Kansas City. It turned into a symbol of something bigger, the chaos tied to Justin Baldoni. And by extension, Blake pulled Taylor's name into a mess she couldn't afford. While the official police record never confirmed her involvement, the gossip cycle still made her the centerpiece. And if Blake had even indirectly sparked that storm, the damage went far deeper than headlines it cut at. The foundation of trust. Fans didn't need Taylor to issue a statement to see what was happening. They started noticing the absences, social media mentions stopped, playful captions vanished, public appearances together were gone. And in interviews, Taylor's words no longer wrapped Blake into the conversation for long time. Followers, those silences spoke louder than any breakup post. Behind the scenes, the reasoning looked even sharper. Taylor was in the middle of a historic tour with album rollouts, stadiums sold out, and her romance with Travis Kelce dominating headlines. Her image had to stay spotless. Any tie to scandal threatened the empire she built. So she pivoted, protect the career, protect the love story, keep the focus on her and her work, not on someone else's chaos, whether strategic or personal. The move left Blake on the outside. Whispers from insiders added fuel, claiming Taylor felt Blake had been manipulative, pulling her into a legal firestorm she never signed up for. The suggestion that Blake was leveraging Taylor's presence to magnify attention made the fracture both professional and personal. If true, Blake was no longer the trusted ally she had been. She was the distraction Taylor needed to cut loose, and that forced fans to question if the friendship had ever been as deep as it looked. Maybe it was always more arrangement than bond. And if one chaotic night could unravel it, the roots may never have been solid at all. Taylor's silence didn't feel temporary. It felt deliberate, a calculated break to reshape her circle and protect her future. And in Hollywood, that kind of break can be as decisive as a courtroom victory. Reputation is currency. And by refusing to step into Blake's storm, Taylor guarded hers while letting fans wonder if this was a quiet farewell to their friendship. Was this truly the end of a bond that once seemed unbreakable, or just another reminder of how fragile celebrity loyalties really are? What do you think? Was Taylor right to pull back? Drop your thoughts in the comments and hit that subscribe button for the next Inside Breakdown.